Hello and welcome to the Reds Report, powered by the Best of Barnsley and part of the TalkSport network of fans. Your presenters this evening, as always, from the other side of the Pennines, the writer of the Tykes blog and vlog, it's Ian. Ian, good evening.
Good evening, Carlo. Steve, you well?
Good evening. Yes, sir, very well.
Very good.
I've got to say I'm feeling a little bit underdressed looking at Mr. VDW. Well, I don't know what's going off here.
Oh, very smart.
Some of us straight from work. Wife's not well, so I had to go pick up a prescription. I sorted tea out, so that means I was in the queue at the drive-through at McDonald's. And anyway, I just made it back. But yeah, he is here, chest infection and all. Mr. Steve Andrews with us. Steve, how are we doing?
Good evening, sir. I'm all right, mate. Thank you.
Well, we should be all right, shouldn't we, lads? Because,
of course we should.
After the debacle of the Exeter postponement and no game in the weekend because of Wednesday's cup run, back in action last night away at Oxford, and well, it brought back those feelings as if that we had sort of like up to Christmas, wasn't it? That run we were in. No, not those feelings, Steve. I know what you think. That's what you know.
We love them feelings, though, don't we?
Ian, oh, he's gone now, Steve. He's obviously pressed something.
He loved his feelings that much. He got that excited.
He's just taking a moment of privacy and then he'll be back. Ian, Barnsley back to the best yesterday again?
For 60 minutes, yes. I think. Hello. Did you have a moment, Steve?
That didn't take long, Steve. You were talking about
Amster's collapsed. Had to kiss a life and get defibrillator out. If I could say defibrillator, but there you go. No, we're back again. Don't worry, boys. Here I am.
Excellent. Where was I? Yeah.
Back to the best.
Sorry, boys.
Do you feel Barnsley were back to the best yesterday?
For 60 minutes, I thought they started the game terrifically well. Great pace, frantic. Went at Oxford. We know that if we go a goal behind, we don't tend to get anything out of the game. So we've got to score first. And I think we went for it. Played some good stuff. I thought the cross for the first goal was just asking to be buried. It was a great cross, great header. Second goal was a great team goal, good finish. And they were cruising. And they looked a very much a mid-table, the division side, didn't they? They didn't have anything up front. I thought we could have coasted that, and then for some reason we switched off, become a bag of nerves at the back, couldn't win a header, conceded corner after corner, but then kind of got through in the end, didn't we? And when I saw 8 minutes of injury time, I did panic somewhat, but they put us through it a little bit. But for 60 minutes, yeah, back-to-back victories now after that wobble in January. And we can look forward to Pompey now, I think, on Saturday.
Steve, we were sort of like under the cosh a little bit when they got their goal back. What did you see any sort of player that picked us up and changed that mentality? Because it was very much about mentality, wasn't it? We like Ian says, we couldn't win in header, we couldn't put a pass together. When we cleared it, it went out in the stand or 60 yards up the pitch. What changed it? What did those breaks in play with Duff having a word? What was it? Because we went from very much under the cosh to masters of the dark arts with time wasting, laying down.
Yeah,
you must have enjoyed that.
Oh, always. We like a bit of dark arts, don't we? I mean, obviously, I agree with Ian. First 60, 65 minutes. First half especially were outstanding. Some of the best football we've played all season. I think we all predicted a win at Accrington would have kicked us on morale-wise, and it seemed to have. I was a little bit worried sort of midweek with Exeter match being called off, because you always think, well, they're going to drop back down again, maybe. But no, that first half, first 60 minutes played really well. Then, yeah, they all seem to switch off. As for a player who sort of, I don't know, sort of kept us going, kept us ticking over. No, I see. I can't really pick somebody out. I wouldn't have thought. Connell yet again did what he's good at, breaking play up. I thought Anderson were magnificent in centre of that defence. And I suppose Anderson is the one that keeps driving us forward.
I listened on iFollow yesterday, and I could swap commentary between home and away. And sometimes, if you go yesterday's case to the home side, you sometimes get a more objective view because it was their BBC commentary of Oxford. Steve, they were singing the praises of Herbie Kane. It was like the Herbie Kane tribute show.
For
They talked about
first 45 minutes, yeah, it were. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
They talked about him being a pass master. They talked about him. He's a bit leaner than he was. Where are we on Herbie Kane? How are we feeling? Are we warming? Are we warming to him? Do you see more of what you expected to see when he came in, or what's the situation? Give us an update.
So, well, with the arrival of the new midfield chap, I saw something on Twitter. That was yesterday. About who would you drop out of our normal midfield to put this new guy in, and for me, I would drop Phillips. Two sides at coin yesterday. Kane, decent, basically all the way through. Did quite a lot of running. He still tends to be hitting these headless chicken passes where he doesn't actually look up. He just hits it thinking that there's somebody there. Now, either he's 5-10 seconds in front at rest of players, or he's 5-10 seconds behind rest of players. I don't know which way it is. I thought Phillips, to be honest, apart from first half, were quite anonymous. So if it comes down to a choice for me, Kane would be in, Phillips would be out, and get this new guy in if he's as good as they say he is. But Kane, yeah, I wasn't necessarily one of his most ardent supporters at beginning of season, if you wish to put it that way. Yes, he is leaner, pass master. Ooh, I'm just pushing it just a little bit, I think. But no, he's certainly upped his game, and he's certainly playing a lot better. But I do think Kane, the more I see him, is more of a confidence player, and I think there is a player in there, but he needs to certainly be bringing it out now.
I might have some bumper stickers made. I clapped Herbie Kane off when we were losing 2-0 at home.
Yeah, I should. You'll be clapping Collins off next, won't you?
Well, before we go on to Collins, I want to have a quick word about Norwood. We've talked about Norwood, and at times maybe a bit critical. We were talking before we started recording that he seemed to have more energy. He seemed to be chasing lost causes a lot more. He puts himself about. Are we seeing more? Because I felt very much initially he was a 45-minute player. 45 minutes didn't need to come off. He couldn't. Are we getting more out of him? And what do we put that down to, Ian?
I'm not sure what we put it down to. I think undoubtedly against Accrington, he had his best game in a red shirt. And last night, he started doing again what he were doing against Accrington. If there's a fullback tracking back for the ball, he's going chasing him, which he wasn't doing. He's sprinting, full on sprinting. He just, like I say, he's got a bit more energy. He just seems to be more focused and more energy. What we put it down to, I don't know. Whether it's competition for places now, whether he's just got fitter. I would have put him down as an impact player. I would have said he's a half an hour man to come on in the second half, but he's just got that bit of nous about him. And I just think these last couple of games, you can't drop him on Saturday after the last two performances.
Yeah. So let's have a look then. Transfer season is over. Let's first look at the players that have left the club. So first of all, Tom Edwards, obviously back to Stoke because of that injury. Jesper Moon is out on loan to Burton Albion. William Hundermark has gone to Northampton. Jack Walton has joined Luton, because if you're going to join any club from Barnsley, it has to be Luton, because that's in the contract. And unfortunately, Jack Aitchison to Motherwell. Now, very much, I think, for family or personal reasons, we know he had some time off. It deals very much with his move. Let's talk about Jack Aitchison. I know we've had discussions about, is he a striker, is he a number 9? But you could never deny his work rate, or could you, Steve?
No, not at all.
No.
I must admit, I was surprised he's gone. Obviously, it must be for family reasons. I'm assuming it'll not be for footballing reasons, because I think he got a place in Barnsley. I really do. I didn't find him as a striker myself. I thought he were a good number 10 because he was lively behind front two in that sort of role. So no, I've got to be said. I'll be honest, a little bit disappointed that he's gone.
And what about Jack Walton? Did that one a bit sort of left field, Ian? Because we've talked about before about having Searle, having Walton, having Collins, and we've talked about competition for places. But for whatever reason, Collins has always been first name on the sheet unless there's been a cup match. I mean, good luck to Jack. He's played number 2. He had that season in him where he was number 1 and then took it in his stride when he came number 2. He's joining up with Carlton Morris. He's joining up, well, every other Barnsley player that's ever left, Paulie Woodrow as well. We wish him luck, but he was quickly replaced as well, wasn't he?
Yes, there'd been rumours that he'd wanted first team football even last season. His folks only live around the corner from me, and I'd heard a few things that he wanted first team football. And when you look back at what he's done at Barnsley, he's done all right. He's had good spells, but I think this season, and I know it can be difficult coming in for one game and going back out again, but he dropped a couple of clangers this season. So whether Duff's thought, yeah, I can let you go, because the goalkeeping situation has confused me a little bit. I've never known who's coming or going, because we let him go, but then another one comes in on loan. Then we get another one from Tottenham, but he's going straight in the under-23s. Then we've got Searle, but then there's rumours Searle might go out on loan to a country that their transfer market's still open. And I'm like, where are we going with these keepers? Yeah. So I think it was probably inevitable with Walton. I think the big thing for him is Kevin Pilkington, who used to be goalkeeping coach at Oakwell, is down there. He gets on with him. Like I say, he's going to know most people in that dressing room. So it's no surprise, but we've had a right bit of movement in that goalkeeping department, haven't we?
Yeah. So now Clark Adore has come back and was in the mix, wasn't he? He was on the bench. Rudy Pash re-signed with the Reds as well. Academy product, went out to, was it Asbjörk or whatever? Anyway, he's come back as well. So let's have a look at incoming. Now, Steve, ignore Rudy Pash, ignore Clark Adore. On loan, we brought in a centre-back, a goalkeeper and a centre-forward. And on permanent deals, we brought in a centre-forward, a central midfielder and a right-back. You've got to be happy with that, haven't you? Like, to say we've got no money, I think we've everywhere and we've ever mentioned we needed. They've even listened to you when they said we need a box-to-box midfielder because, hello, here's John Russell. I mean, it's been a good winter transfer season, surely.
On paper, yes, I would say. You look at players that's coming in, all right, I don't know much about. And even, to be quite honest, I know the midfielder, Russell, wherever you look, somebody says he's absolutely amazing, brilliant, world beater. Some people says he's not very good at all. But you're always going to get that. But you look at what players we wanted, so you can't really argue with what he's brought in. You've got your 2 strikers, both particularly rated. Like you said, midfielder, got some good review. That Bobby Thomas, I've got to say, last couple of games has been outstanding. Obviously, he got that goal last night, but against Accrington, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I mean, all right, proof's going to be what they do on pitch. We know that, and your keyboard warriors will be straight into them once they've had 10 minutes and they've misplaced a pass or whatever. But they just need some time. Just need some time to settle in, and let's hope that we can get them into fold, keep this morale going that we've got now, and just push on.
Yeah, it is weird though, isn't it, that the goalkeeper situation, to come back to that we brought Harry Isted in from Luton, and Walter goes the other way. Like, if they're both wanting first team football, then it's a bit of a weird move, isn't it? Because they're both going. They're replacing each other, essentially. But with the injury, or apparent injury to the Barnsley goalkeeper Collins yesterday, there is a spot open for Portsmouth. So, Ian, you're the coach. Are you going to say to Isted, show us what you can do with it? Is Searle going to get a nod, or is somebody else going to come in from... Who is going to play in goal on Saturday? Who would you like to see play in goal?
I think you probably say Isted, because I don't think they've clearly not trusted Searle. Otherwise, he'd have probably had a couple of places on the bench so far this season.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking it won't be Searle. It'll be, although Searle might be on the bench, I think it'll be Isted if Collins can't make it on Saturday.
Yeah. You talked about Bobby Thomas before, Steve, on loan from Burnley.
What a player.
Talk about impact and talked about playing from the under-23s in whichever division onto League One football. He looks like he's like the all-round. He loves having the ball. He's not afraid to come forward, header. He's exactly what we needed. Because is it fair to say that those three at the back, Kitchen, Anderson, Bobby Thomas, they're probably all as good as each other, aren't they? There's no weak. Well, I don't really see a weak link there.
No, not now. I think he fills this spot, unfortunately, that Tom Edwards has left. I know none of us really are Cundy fans. This lad's come in as big as Cundy, but seems to have a lot more about him. He's a lot more mobile, a lot more comfortable on ball. Up to now, 2 games. I watched him against Accrington, watched him last night. No, brilliant, really good, really good.
And then if you look at the wide players that would make that 5-man defence, unless we're in possession, we go forward. You've got Clark O'Dowd that can play on the left and possibly, if Cadden has an injury or anything. And on the other side, where we've got Jordan Williams, we've now got Barry Cotter as well. So there's not room for there's competition for places, which will hopefully make those that are picked play an extra or give an extra 5 or 10%. Forwards then, quite a bit of choice. Devante Cole's going through a bit of I don't want to say a goal drought, but we're not mentioning him very often. We talked about Norwood, how he breaks play up. Now we know Devante Cole is a different sort of striker, but who would you start on Saturday, Ian? You look at everybody we've got. Would you say Norwood has to start just because of experience and how he rattles defenders? Who's the best to play off Norwood if Norwood is the number one?
You're right about Devante Cole. He has had a bit of a quiet spell. I thought he was a good yard off last night. I thought there was a couple of chance very early on that he could have. Was he 1-on-1 with the keeper or something? He could have just nicked it over the keeper, and he would just. Yeah. We just weren't at the races at all, and Norwood deserves to start. His last 2 performances have been 9 out of 10s. But I'd be well, it all depends on fitness, doesn't it? I believe Ollie Shaw's probably not been played since November. I don't know if that's right. Waters is clearly, they're not rushing him in, but I'd be likely to think Cole's spot might be up for grabs on Saturday. I really do. I think he needs to liven up a little bit, which he's capable of doing. But now we all said, didn't we? January window, we need strikers. They've gone and got 2 strikers in. Yes, one's on loan. But we've got and a lot of the sides have juggled strikers that are in and around us and have tried to. Every club knows that it's the goals that are going to get you promoted. So yeah, I think Cole's got to be careful if he. It wasn't just the fact he's not scoring; it's the fact that I think he's just been not quite on it. Whereas November, December he was.
Yeah. And I'm sure he'll come back again. Just a quick word, Steve. Following the postponement, which was a complete EFL blunder, and they're not fans-minded, 2.5, 3.5 hours before kickoff. So the club decided that this weekend, because there was no match, to put a bit of an intra-team on. So 2 Barnsley sides taking on each other. Now, the gesture is a great one. You give people a bit of football, don't you? A chance. Callett spoke to the people that came. So did Duff, that I heard. The downside to that is now Anderson went off with an injury, but obviously he was okay. They talked about Cole, they were all playing, but Matty Wolf out for the season because of something that happened during that match. I mean, again, the board can't do right for doing wrong, and hindsight is a beautiful thing. Shame that you lose somebody like Wolf, but is it fair to say that with the additions and the people we've had, he was always going to be a squad player probably, but nevertheless, the club put something on to appease the fans and to do something positive in engagement, and then they get slated for the injuries. They can't win, can they?
Personally, they could have won by not having a pointless kickabout between 22 players that should be getting ready to play on a Saturday. And what they should have done, considering state of the country at the minute, people who'd thrown a day's holiday in, paid for petrol, stuff like that, maybe they should have remunerated them with maybe free tickets, something like that. I think that would have been a better way to go myself. I thought the game itself was a pointless exercise. And if it were me, if I'd been way down to Exeter and got called off, I'd be thanking them more if I'd have got a £5 or a £10 or a free ticket or something like that.
And I get that completely, but it's not theirs to pay back, is it? It was an EFL or joint EFL sort of Exeter decision.
No, quite true. But then you're giving up your Saturday morning for a kickabout that were pointless. And all you've got out of it is Matty Wolf, squad player or not, that's got a really seriously damaged knee. His out for season could be out a bit longer, who knows? But if that can happen to one of the players, it could have happened to Norwood, it could have happened to Anderson, it could have happened to anybody. I just don't see what the point were, just to appease fans that have been to Exeter. I'm sure they weren't particularly bothered themselves.
No. Barnsley and Exeter again on Saturday. We spoke shortly before in the year. We think the team are staying down there. It would make sense. And I'm not very good with geography, but I know when I travel to Portsmouth, you drive through Oxford. So it seems to make sense to stay in that corner of the country rather than going back up to come back down again. Portsmouth on Saturday. Looking at the team then, fair to say, I suppose, that everybody that started on Wednesday should get the boots on and start again on Saturday, shouldn't they? Because nobody really set a foot wrong, apart from Collins, obviously, who looks like he's injured and he's out. But the first 11 picked themselves, Ian? Yeah.
The only question mark will be Cole. Maybe if Waters is ready, do you freshen it up there? But yeah, the rest of them, no problem with them starting again. I'm sure they're fit enough, been playing long enough in the season now, fit enough to play 2 games. And I just feel I'm really hopeful of that performance and that victory. A ground that we don't particularly do well will spur us on Saturday at another ground where we don't do particularly well. I think if we'd have lost yesterday, I'd have been really fearful of, although we're 10 points clear of Portsmouth, I'd have still been fearful of them on their own patch. But I think we can go there now, having brought a bit of a jinx at Oxford. Why can't we go there and do the same tactics, have a right go at them for the first 20 minutes and try and get ahead, get the crowd against their own players?
At what point, Steve, do you start introducing some of these new players? You're looking at Russell in midfield, Ollie Shaw, Waters obviously, made an appearance. Bobby Thomas, I mean, he's got his place cemented, and he needs to have a really, really, really bad match to score 6 own goals to lose this place.
Yeah.
If you look at yesterday, we were 2-0 up and 2-1. They take if there's a similar scenario on Saturday, is that the place to maybe put some new? And there he goes again. Steve keeps dropping off. If you're listening to the podcast, Steve left this chat room and come back at least 19 times. So I'll ask you the question, Ian. When do you bring these players in? Is that when you're winning? Because that's probably an easier way to deal with it. Or when do you bring them? Oh, he's back again, Steve. When do you? I
tell you what, this modern technology. You know what I think about modern technology, don't you? It's an absolute bagger. Oh, sound's gone again. Anyway, we're all right. I don't know what it is tonight. It just keeps cutting off. And now I've got 2 of me. I can see 2 of me, which is bad enough. Oh, no, that's all right. There's just one there. A little worried there. Portsmouth. Yeah, same 11. Can't see anything changing.
Oh, he's gone again.
Take over.
Feel, again. No, he's there again. Feel sorry for Searle. Don't know what's happening with him. Obviously, don't fancy him. But yeah, I'm hoping Collins is out for a while. Let somebody else have a go. Rest of the team, pretty much picks itself. Only change for me would be Russell in for Phillips, personally, because he's only one I think that would be relatively match fit. Waters is getting nearer. Shaw's, like you say, not played since November. So,
do we say about Phillips? He does divide opinion. When he was it November, December when he scored some like 5 goals in a row or whatever he did. His 90-minute performances weren't great, but he was scoring the goals, wasn't he?
It's just that pop up every now and again. He just pops up with a boom, and
totally agree with you. And it's one of them that his 90-minute performance, like or whatever, however long he was on for yesterday, probably would say shouldn't really start against Pompey. But then that cross he put in for that goal was brilliant. And he has moments. He doesn't. He's not like a Connell who'll be 90-minute man. He's moments and flashes, isn't he? So he's a real,
which is all right. it's all right having these moments, players, when you're in Premiership.
Or
When you're in the Premier League and you're winning 7-0 against Man City is what he was going to say before he dropped off again. And, it's right. And I do think, because I mean, he's divided opinion anyway, has John Russell. But from what we gather is he played in the playoff final. He's back again for Huddersfield.
I tell you what, Ilkley Wi-Fi is absolutely shite. I've got to be honest.
But apparently he fell out with the management. Hence, he's not been playing a lot. Huddersfield fans say you've got a workhorse, you've got this, you've got that. So it'd be good to get some blooming and also to rest, because you have to say yesterday, especially players like Connell, the high intensity. Especially when, we're already a match that we've got to catch up on. Then there's a Sheffield Wednesday match that will have to obviously be played at some point. I suppose he offers a different option, doesn't it? Strikers-wise, Norwood and Watters on Saturday, or who would you go with, Steve?
You know what? I don't think Watters is quite there. Last couple of games, he's come on as a sub, not really put his mark on game, but he's near and thereabouts. For me, I would start Norwood and Cole, just because they're used to playing together, and maybe give Watters a full half. So Cole plays first half, and then Watters can have a really good run and sort of get himself where he needs to be. What I would like to say, though, and I'll say it now before I get cut off again, why is Martin still at club?
Good question.
Yeah.
Because didn't
he came on last night. Why? Why is he still there taking up whatever he's taking up? Get shut. Yeah. Unbelievable.
I think if it is one of those contracts where you sign him for the season and you can't return him, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know, but
I think we messed on the WhatsApp, didn't we? About I'd heard that you can only play 5 loan players in your matchday squad, and we've got something like 6 or 7 loanees. So somebody's not going to play. So what's the point? I do think in terms of Duff might keep the selection the same on Saturday, because I think he's probably thinking these lads are fit enough to play at the minute Wednesday, Saturday, because we missed the Exeter game. I think the congestion's to come, isn't it? It's going to come probably March, and he might be thinking, well, let's not rush Watters, let's not rush Russell, and these lads will slot in when we need them later on, which is fair enough. But with Martin, he is a square peg in a round hole. Where would you fit him in? He's not been good enough. And I agree with Steve. That one could have gone back, and I don't know whether we pay his wages or half his wages, but you could have freed some money up and a place on the bench. So I agree with that.
There's no sweat on the shirt on that one, is there?
No.
And we don't have a Reds Report recording without a bit of a forecast. So, Steve, you first. Barnsley away at Portsmouth. Final score, first Barnsley goal scorer. Let me think. Hold on. Anderson will feature in there. Go on, tell us.
Has he frozen?
It's unbelievable. I just don't know what's up with it. Any other time, it's fine. But tonight, for some reason, it plays for 1 minute, 60 seconds, then cuts me off. It's Carlo's internet. I'm telling you, it's not mine. But anyway, pump your way. It's Saturday. Do it quick. As long as we can have that same first half we had last night, I don't see why we can't go there and get a result. So I'm going to go 1-0, and goal scorer will be Mads Anderson, back post header.
Ian, as optimistic?
Before the Oxford game, I said 1-1. I'm thinking we've got the potential to sneak this 2-1. So I think I'll be ultra confident and go 2-1. First goal scorer,
I step.
Let's plump for after I've dissed him tonight. It's going to be Devante Cole in it.
I'm going to go 2-3, so 3-2 to Barnsley. I've just got this feeling.
Well, we haven't kept a clean sheet since Burton in the middle of December, so I don't think we'll keep another one.
I've got to say, what amuses me, though, is we've hardly scored any goals for a few games, yet you keep coming up with 4-0, 3-2.
Hey, I said 4-0 last time, 3-1.
I know you did.
4 goals in the match, so it's going to be 3-2. And I think Eisted will be in goal, and he'll have a shaky start. That's all I'm saying, but he'll make up. It'll be like a Luke Steele kind of debut, if you remember that one. The first goal will be scored by Liam Kitchen, because I want that headline, Kitchen sinks Portsmouth. Something like I need that headline. I need that Kitchen sink. Credit, by the way, to the Oxford commentary yesterday, the BBC. I thought very objective. Good to hear other commentary teams actually, applauding and crediting Barnsley with a way and identity and everything else. So yeah, really, really good. So by the sounds of it, then another 3 points on Saturday. We'll be back next week where we'll be reviewing that win against Portsmouth, 4-0. Nobody said 4-0, did they? And we'll be looking forward to the next home match, which is Cambridge, a week on Saturday, I believe, back at home. As always, Ian Hope from the Tykes Walker. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Steve Andrews.
in and out and in and out. No, God knows what's happening.
You put your router in. Your router.
Oh, it's gone. Right, okay.
You'll be listening to the Reds Report, powered by the Best of Barnsley and part of the TalkSport network of fans. We'll be back next week. Thank you very, very much for joining us.